FPL.
Hey!
Hello, listeners.
Game week 12.
It's game week 12 indeed. To your host, Jimmy Ferguson, and listeners, what a week game week 11 was. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be back. Got a star-studded panel for you today. The pundits. Look at this, right? Wow. Look who's back. Back again.
Back again.
It's NVD.
NVD.
All right,
NVD.
NVD, where have you been my whole life?
Oh, you know what? With Liverpool's dire situation in defence, Jurgen sent me on a scouting mission for a good couple of weeks. That's why I wasn't on the poddy. He sent me to all these clubs, but it turned out they're all dodgy German disco techno clubs, not the ones that I was thinking of. So yeah, it was an interesting little old scouting mission.
You've been raving whilst Jurgen's been losing it.
There you go, mate.
Tiny Mashers was still out, but welcome, mate. Good to have you back. Very timely.
Good to be back.
You decided not to be here when Brighton drew 1-1 with Liverpool, but now you've won 4-0, back in the hot seat.
Exactly, that's the way it goes.
Good win, mate. Good win. Talking of good wins, a couple of weeks ago, Patrick Vieira, your team Fulham, had a blinding win, and you weren't here last week, but you've lost 2-0 this weekend. I mean,
did lose 2-0, but it was against Man City. So for me, that's still a good result. So I'm pleased with that.
I'm very pleased that you didn't collapse as well, because at 2-0 so early on in the game, for you, I'm pleased. For me, I'm very disappointed because I had De Bruyne as captain. I was hoping he'd knock a few more in. But a couple of weeks ago, I called out Fulham as the whipping boys. And I think, you've got to be quite sort of promised and roused by the fact you held on.
Yeah, I told you, they're on a steady progression. Slow and steady wins the race, remember?
Certainly does.
I hope you weren't too aroused, Vieira.
Of course he was.
Not in public, anyway.
In the highlights again. And you've heard him there, listeners. He's very happy, jumping in captain Russ. He's got his Spurs shirt on, back at the top of the table, mate. How are you doing today?
Good. Life could be better. I think last time we were top of it was like something like 1984 for this early on in the season. So yeah, very happy with Spurs. Good result this weekend. Poddy, not so bad. Kind of like a bit Joe average, but looking good.
A green arrow for you, mate. A green arrow for you, and nice to do one over an Arsenal. And ladies and gents, the final, guys, been waiting in the wings. I've been looking forward to this all day. Pellers, you said the romance of West Ham. I felt
the romantic fixture. Always look forward to that game, mate. We started well. You got to give it to us. We started well. First 60 minutes, we pretty much dominated United. But Fernandes turned it all around, mate. He come on second half, and what can I say? He is the magician, and we just couldn't keep it there. To be fair, Man United in the end they deserve. They're more clinical, put away their chances. But my lad Bowen, what a player he was on there.
Yeah, he was all right. He didn't get an assist or anything, though, did he? But you're very humble there, fellas, because, nice that it's a game of two halves. I'll give you that. You were all over us first half. United were very poor. And I think the changes, came in, and the romance hit in around about the 63rd minute. One of the defenders curled the ball out of play, but VAR just didn't have the angles to clear.
They didn't have the angle, mate. David Moyes old Moisey was going mental. He's like, "Is it one over my head? One over my head?" And
he was full out. Yeah, I saw Morsey. Morsey was clapping on the halfway line, and then he goes nuts. Wasn't happy, was he?
Yeah, it was definitely out. But no, what a finish from Pogba, though. Where did he come from? He had a shocking game in the first half. And obviously more news today. It looks like he's leaving United. But, what a blinder. But, I think Fernandes and obviously Rashford as well. Rashford is really good.
Yeah, very good. And lovely to see Greenwood on the turn. But hopefully, you mentioned it there, hopefully Pogba does go. I'll be very happy to see the back of him. I won't lie. And listeners, you may want to crucify that, but I've had enough of him. That said, Pellers, you did call out one. You called out Bowen. He didn't quite do it, but one that did do it for you was Souček. And
Souček?
Yeah, he was all over it. And I think We called him out last week. You said, my Souček, my Souček, my Souček. You said he was going to be on the sheet. That's how you said it. It sounded just like that. A bit more Essex. I don't know.
4.9 million. 4.9 million. And
gone down in price then.
He's proven, since the start of the season he has, but he's proven his worth. A lot of people had him like in game week 1 because he was kind of that cheap box-to-box midfielder who does, get on the end of free kicks and corners. He's just brilliant in the air and, right place, right time.
He was right place, right time, wasn't he? But so that was one we called last week. And listeners, I just want to reel off a quick few, blowing that trumpet of ours again. But Pellers, you called Liverpool to hit 4 past Wolves. That was a hell of a shout. That happened. Captain Russ, you said that Kane and Son would both score. I mean, they are the regulars. You weren't going that far out, but you called it. We then, a couple more interesting ones that we did call. I think 1-1 Burnley-Everton. We called no clean sheets in that game. That was a good call. Man United 2 beat West Ham. No clean sheets. Souček to score. Already covered that. And then City, Sterling. Pellers, you called out Sterling. That was a blinding shout because he was on form, wasn't he?
He looked good. Yeah, I think Man City, we've been waiting for them to come back, and they look to be back in the position where they belong and in and amongst the top 5 now. So in the title race again, I would say.
Certainly are. And the final thing that we called last week, listeners, Kurt Zouma to head a goal in. Captain Russ, you were in there with the money.
Yeah, it's not the first time he's done that on a set piece, and it was a blinding goal. So glad I had him in my team as well.
You had that sixth sense.
Yeah, I did. Shame that Chilwell didn't get one, but there you go. We're in assist.
Yeah, you did claim he was going to be running rings around the defenders, which I really like the expression. But I mean, as you were sort of rubbing your mistal balls, you must have seen Zuma's face coming out. So,
I know. You can't miss that.
Got a big head.
He has got a big head. Rubbish at fairground ride.
Very good in the box. Box in the box. All right, excellent stuff. That's the intros. That's what we got right last week, listeners. And what a show we've got for you this week. The Game Week 12 preview. We will jump into the Left Back FPL Podcast League. We'll tell you how everyone's done. From there, we'll have a little look at our teams. You'll see how the pundits have done. And then we'll have the one Klopp, one flop. If you're a regular listener, get my words out, you'll know usually we do a rambling from the dugout after that. But making a bit of a change this week, listeners, an exciting change. Rambling from the dugout is going to be replaced by the halftime team talk. And a halftime team talk, we've had so many questions come in from you all on Twitter that we just need a halftime to answer all of your questions. So, any question that comes in, we'll call you out. We'll answer those questions during the halftime team talk. And then after the halftime team talk, we get into the Game Week 12 fixtures. So if you specifically want our tips for Game 12, results, where the points are, predictions, you can skip on to that bit. Don't forget, though, we will always put little tips in throughout the show. So if you do skip on, you might miss a little bit. And after that, it's Captain Contenders.
Captain Contenders.
Very nice, lads. I liked it. Okay, that's enough from me. Listeners, we'll get on with the show. Let's jump into the Left Back FPL Poddy League. Before we'll jump in, of course, I will tell you how to join if you've not joined. The code is 06 small s 7 small s 8. Put that in and you'll be in the league. NVD, do the honours for us. Who is winning the whole important league? Who's in these Champions League spots?
Yeah, definitely. Well, a bit of movement this week. So we know for game week 11, average points was 62, highest points scored in the entire FPL was 132. In our left back FPL league, we have Big Al at the top he got 77 points. He's got 731 in total. He captained Fernandez. Second is my year, Kidder F. He captained De Bruyne. He got 67 points, so 725 in total. FPL God, Anand Jar. He got 61 and is actually in joint, to be honest, on 708 with Encinitas United, Brendan Breen. Here you go, lads. You've creeped in to that joint third or fourth, whatever you want to call it, position again on 708. Captain Fernandez and has just played his first wild card, so you got 82 points. So it's a good on you.
Very nice, very nice. Thanks, NVD. So nice to hear someone else butchering people's team names, not just me. But yeah, that's the top four then, guys. That's the Champions League. Quite a bit of movement there. Big Al has overtaken Kidder S. Enchinatas United, he's come from 6th into 3rd. FPL God, he's still in 3rd as he was. So the Thursday night, though, Europa League spots, Kiosk Valtana. Gosh, man, that's a tough one, but I'm sure I got that right. Victor Sandberg, he's in 5th. And then Zoenks. I love Zoenks. He's often commenting on Twitter. He's into 6th position. But then Dynasty down in 7th. He's dropped. Joe Watson dropped from 4th to 7th. Not ideal for him. But there you go. That's the top 7 in the FPL Poddy League. Ricky Pellegrini, you've been looking at the biggest mover and the highest point scorer of the week. Who does that accolade go to, man?
That is correct, Jimmy Ferguson. It is Hat-Trick Benchford. He got a massive 99 points this week. Did take a -4 for a second transfer, but look at his team. He's got Son, Salah, De Bruyne, Kane, Calvert-Lewin and Bamford. Biggest mover of the league. He is up now to the position of 41. And I'm sure with that team, he'll keep on climbing.
Superb. So it's gone very well for that gentleman. Didn't go quite so well for a few of them down near the bottom. Captain Russ in particular, we need to, do we want to focus on the bottom 3 first, or do we want to name and shame?
Let's just focus on the bottom 3 very quickly. As you can see, the league's growing and growing week by week. We've got JCR, who's Jacob Casson-Rennie. He's on a 338. He's rock bottom. He got 77 points this week, though. It's not so bad. Yep. Salad Cream is 87th, 69, favourite number. 600. He's got 435, and we've got Gordon Mack with Arteka is Art, who's number 80. He's 86.
Yeah,
he's on 448. But he got a 64 this week. Not too bad.
What is it about 69 that makes it your favourite number, Captain?
It's just like it looks good, doesn't it? 6 and a 9, and it's just the way it forms.
Excellent stuff. Thanks for the bottom 3. So I think we should just quickly mention JCR, so Jacob at the bottom there. He's actually only played since game week 5, I believe it is. So that's why he's so low. But good stuff, man. Well played. Sticking to it, and hopefully you could catch someone. What it does mean, though, is Salad Cream, our long-term loser, isn't bottom anymore. Second.
Hey!
Go on, old Davey Ibber.
Go on, Salad Cream.
Go on, Davey.
Salad Cream.
Anyway, shall we do the name and shame? There's only one that's worthy of this title this week, I believe.
I think Vieira needs to deliver it because he's such a gentleman. It's going to be hard for him to do it through gritted teeth.
That's right. I'll be very gentle. So this week, name and shame is FC Farmers, who is Alexander Bursak. He got 39 this week and took a 4-point hit. He's still doing well in the league, but this week, name and shame, FC Farmers.
Put it out, FC Farmers.
Sort it out, mate.
I don't know. That's awful, isn't it? Anyhow, lads, average overall for this week, 62. And what was the average for our league?
68.
68. 2 fat ladies, 68.
Yes. Called like a proper bingo caller. Thank you, fellas. One below your favourite number, Captain. But there you go. Everyone in the league, 68. We all did brilliantly. We were very much hampered by FC Farmers, who really didn't do so well. But named and shamed. But well done, everyone. Some very high scores. And, we'll jump into each of our teams as well for you, let you know how we all got on. Ricky Pellegrini, you're still the highest pundit, mate. You're 19. Bit of a red arrow this week. You got 63, mate. What went well? What didn't?
To be honest, mate, I captained the wrong player. Fernandez wasn't even starting, so that wasn't a good start. But obviously, he did come on. It was kind of be a bit sweet. The way I was looking at it, it's like, well, if West Ham lose, then it's going to be down to Fernandez, and it actually was. He came on the second half, got the 6 points, so it could be worse. But both Salah and Son obviously scored way above that. So it went wrong a bit there. But with the whole Grealish and Watkins out, there wasn't much I could do, mate. You know, I took the top 4-point hit just because I was going to get 0 for a couple of my players. So kind of had to do that. Do have to give a quick shout out just to Matty Lawless because he's just gone to second in our pundits league with a massive 92 points there. So well done, Matty. He's gone above me. And I'm going to be chasing you, mate. Give it some
Congratulations, Mr. Lawless. But if you are listening, just so you know, for it to count, you have to be in the left back FPL Poddy League. So it doesn't count. Of course it does. Congratulations to him. Pellers, a couple of things you mentioned I wanted to hone in on. You took a -4. How did that work out for you? Did you come out on top?
Well, you know, you do the maths and you say if you're going to get a 0 points for a player, you want at least 2, right, at minimum. But I didn't even get that. So I only got 1 for Lamptey. I brought him in. I was kind of looking at the next couple of game weeks as well, because I do like Lamptey as a player. I think he's probably Brighton's brightest spark at the back and gets that right wing. He could get an assist every now and then. So I will be keeping him in. Got that Nico Williams in. I was mentioning him in last week. That'll be a short-term prospect because Trent's obviously back now.
Yeah, I mean he got 5 though, didn't he? So that was 6 points on them 2 players. So you would 2 up really? If you hadn't have made them, you'd have been down, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I just did the extra 1 transfer. The one who's annoying me though is Werner. I don't know if he can justify that price tag anymore. So I've chopped with him twice now this season. I might have to get him out again.
I've got to say, mate, I really like him. I saw a video of him earlier today, and it was like top 5 chances Werner's missed this season, and he has missed some guilty sitters. Like he's there, and I just
he's there. He's got the pace as well, hasn't he? He has got the talent and the pace.
Eventually the wiener has to click, doesn't it? The wiener's going.
It'll slide in place. Don't worry.
It always does, isn't it?
He's playing with Giroud now, and Giroud's a large gentleman, and maybe he'll get his wiener going, you know, and just start playing together, bounce off each other.
Yeah, I mean, you might miss the first 4 or 5 times, but you know you'll get there eventually. So I think the Werner or the wiener, stick with him. Excellent, Pellers. Thanks for taking us through your team. So you're there. 657 points for the season. That puts you 600,000 in the world. The next pundit below you, 7 points below in the Poddy League, it is none other than NVD. NVD, you've been on holiday, raving it up, but your team's not suffered. What a good week for you, 71.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I had to take the 4-point hit as well, to be honest, because I had Grealish in my team and I was and ahhing whether I kind of just leave him on the bench along with Conter, but I was like, you know what, you guys, you do know what you're talking about most of the time. That's why you should listen to the poddy and listen to it. You called out De Bruyne, you said he was going to haul, and I was just like, yeah, you know what, I think it's time to jump on the KDB bandwagon. Got him in, captained him as well, and naturally that paid dividends in his 14 points return, so 28 for me. I got in Adams because I actually thought, you know what, with Ings out, playing Brighton, so Che Adams, I thought, he might do something. Why I, to be honest, overlooked Bamford, because as soon as I started watching the game, I thought, you know what, he's going to score, and lo and behold, he did. And he got 8 points compared to Adams 2. But look, apart from that, Salah, Fernandez, they did their part. Really, to be honest, it was the defence that let me down. I got like 3 points from my 3 players that were the 2 defenders that were playing. Kilman didn't play. Yeah. So, and obviously I only had Conter on the bench who wasn't playing anyway due to the postponed game. So, yeah, overall, not too bad. 71. So,
great midfield there, MVD. That's absolutely solid midfield. I think a lot of people will be jealous of your KDB, Son, Fernandez and Salah combination. That's
Jesus, yeah.
tricky to get in.
It feels like that's the template, though, guys. I've been seeing a lot of people with that.
It does, yeah.
You did have Grealish, right? So I know Grealish is a big one. Obviously, when he's back, people are talking about him as well. So do you reckon it's even possible to get those four and Grealish? Probably not, right?
I think it is, Pellers, if you prepared to, like, say, remove a Robertson and a striker.
And your forward line.
Yeah, just have a really cheap strike force, maybe just one Calvert-Lewin, something like that. Yeah.
Would you be tempted, NVD, to get rid of, say, Chilwell and then upgrade Zuma into Grealish if you could?
Yeah, potentially. I think kind of, Grealish he's looked good the past couple of game weeks. So, yeah, I think kind of compared to what my defence has got me over the past couple of game weeks, I think for me it'd work. For other FPL managers, I don't know, because you know what? You've got consistent goal scorers in the likes of Calvert-Lewin. You can't look past Kane, to be honest. Danny Wings is back from injury, so who knows? He could kind of start going on the run. So it's a difficult one. But yeah, it depends who you got on your team.
Yeah. Another guy with a huge score was Mr. Full of Ham. It is Patrick Vieira. Vieira, you are sitting 2 places below NVD. He's on 645 for the season. You're on 638, only 7 behind. What went well, mate, and where did it go a little bit wrong, potentially?
Yeah, I took a hit this week too. I was determined not to take a hit through the whole campaign, but my goal was to bring De Bruyne in at some point. And I thought, if I'm going to bring him in, I should bring him in for Fulham, because he played, Man City did so well. The previous game week, I thought they're just going to keep on that trajectory. So I took a 4-point hit and took Ziyech out and brought in De Bruyne.
Very strong move. Ziyech got injured after 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. He only got 1 point. So yeah, I captained him too. And he paid off. He's probably my best captain I've done so far this campaign. Yeah. And then, the rest of my team, Son got 13, Salah, 14, and then Bamford and Calvert, Lewin, they both got on the scoreboard too. And then just pumping it up a little bit was the game today. Vestergaard, the fullback for Southampton, popped in a goal too. So that gave me an extra 9 points. So yeah, a good haul this week.
That's very nice with Vestergaard, mate. And I look at your bench and you got Martinez, Grealish, Wilson. You were hamstrung by the Villa Newcastle game, and I think a lot of people were. Yeah. And it seems worth taking the -4 when you're coming back with an 80 and 85. So who did you take? You took De Bruyne, and who was your second that you bought in?
So I think I had to just make up a bit of money. So I took out Sace, who hadn't been playing, and brought in Kilman, who was a bit cheaper. He didn't play, and so I only had 10 players playing this week. Yeah. But yeah, I just needed to make up a little bit of money, so I brought in Kilman for Sace, and Sace wasn't doing anything anyway.
Okay, so you basically swapped someone who doesn't play for someone else who doesn't play but is cheaper.
Yeah.
Good bit of business.
Okay. Can I just say one thing on Vestergaard though? I mean, it's a great one getting him in, Vieira. I'm surprised more people haven't got him in, because if, let's say, for example, the same price as Lamperty, and he's only blanked in, I think, like 3 or 4 games. I mean, 1 game week he didn't play, I think, which was game week 1, and then he's kind of blanked in 3 game weeks out of almost 11 now. So, yeah, I mean, he's really consistent, and just I've overlooked him so many times, and 4.8 million is not that expensive.
So counter that question, though, NVD. I mean, you mentioned him before. Why haven't you got him?
No, exactly. I know. I just said that. I don't know why. I've never thought of just getting Lamperty out and getting him in. It's just it's ridiculous. But I think kind of, Southampton look solid, and they are going to keep on, getting clean sheets here and there. So he's definitely kind of one to have a look at if you're in for a cheap defender.
Yeah, no, agreed. He looks very good. And I mean, he's had 3 goals this season. Kurt Zouma's had 4 goals. Second highest goal scorer. Good point. And talking to Kurt Zouma, someone that does have him, as I look down the table, not quite as far as I am, just above me. I say just above me, quite far above me. You're sitting in 34th. Captain, you've been patient. You are climbing the table. You're only 6 places off of Vieira. You're 9 points behind. It's coming together, mate.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was pretty happy with performance this week. I think the captaincy, as Pella's mentioned, wasn't a great choice. I also had Fernandez, and no need to go over that again. But yeah, he didn't play first half, so at least he came on. At least he got 6 points. It could have been worse.
Yeah,
it could have been like Calvert-Lewin the week before, where he just got 2, and I captained him. So an improvement in that area. I think Zuma, obviously, as you said, got an 8. So awesome there. Front line, all scoring, like Vardy, Kane and Calvert-Lewin. And Sonny boy scored an amazing goal.
Oh, what a goal. What a hit.
It was incredible. What a game. I mean, it's just that dynamic duo's coming together again. I thought it was lost forever in Jose's new tactics, but obviously swapping and changing. Obviously he has got a game plan.
Yeah.
It's not just parking a bus.
Well, the double-decker changed into sort of Transformer style. And mate, how did you celebrate when Son knocked that in? What were you running around?
I was shouting. I think there's a few knocks on the door to see if everything was all right. But yeah, it was amazing. And then when Kane got the next, it was just amazing.
From an FPL perspective, for the fans out there and the listeners, Kane and Son, right? There is so many players at the moment. This is the crazy thing, is everyone got such big scores this week. Do you have to have Kane and Son in order to get them big scores? And are Kane and Son a concern to any of you, or do you think they should be in your teams? What do you guys think on that?
I think all of us have got Kane and Son on our team, haven't we?
I think
a lot of us have got Son.
Yeah, we've all got Son. I got rid of Kane because for some reason I just think he's so in assist mode. He's like he turned into a great all-round player, right? He's not just a striker, and because of that, I thought, you know what? Actually, my money's more on Son. He's FPL-wise, he's going to get more points because he's just got someone like Kane who's just completely just feeding him all the time.
Yeah.
So,
Vieira, what do you think? Yeah. Because if you have Kane, right, it's either this, right, isn't it? It's Kane rather than, say, De Bruyne or Salah or Fernandez. You're probably choosing Kane over one of them. What do you think, Patrick?
Yeah, again, I think you should have one of them, either Son or Kane. I've gone for Son. I'm structuring my team with, a strong midfield and then, cheaper players up front.
Yeah.
I just think they get a better return.
Yeah.
They get the clean sheet point. And if you pick the right midfielder, they might take the penalty too. So, yeah, I prefer to spend more money in the midfield than up front.
I like that, mate. Cheap up front, like NVD with Brewster. It's still got Brewster NVD.
That's a bit too cheap.
It's sentimental, mate. It's like every week I just think he's going to start smashing it in, but I think my patience is worn out. There's no one else, though, to be honest.
Are you going to keep hold of him, just out of interest?
I mean, by all means, lads, tell me who else I can get in for whatever, 4.5 million, or I've got money in the bank, so 5 million. Podence, actually. Podence, because Jimenez is out, Podence was playing up top. He was one replacement that I was thinking about. But he might get a bit of a return.
He's a midfielder.
He's what?
He's midfield as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right, in the game. Yeah. Good point. Well, there you go. I'm stuck, mate. Brewster it is.
Well, Captain has said that he's got Kane and Son. Pellers, you've got both of you.
No, I've just got Son, mate. I can't afford Kane. I'm just convinced he's going to get injured sooner or later because he always does. But, I mean, maybe playing in that midfield role, I don't know. He's dropping back. He's not having to do the sprints as much. He lets Son and everyone else do the running. So he won't pull that hamstring this year. So, I mean, it's hard to ignore because he's got 98 points this season already, 11 more than Salah. And but I don't know. I like to hedge my bets and not just put everything on Tottenham, because if Tottenham have one bad game, then that's it, isn't it? You've
good point. Yeah,
lost a lot of value there. So I think a lot of people will be leaning towards Son. I really want to go for all 5 of them we were talking about. I want to try and get Son, Salah, Fernandez, Grealish, and KDB if I can.
And Harry Kane?
Not Harry Kane. No, I'd rather get the 5 across midfield.
If you could get all those 6, though, I'll buy you a beer, mate.
It's really difficult. I'm in a situation where I got rid of Salah, right? So I no longer have Salah. After he got COVID, I got rid of him. And now I'm just finding it impossible to get him back.
Because they go up in price too, so it's hard to get them back once you sell them.
That's right. Salah is actually the second most transferred in this week. Grealish is number one. Salah second. Callum Wilson is... everyone's buying Callum Wilson this week as well because obviously he's going to be well rested.
They got West Brom as well.
They got West Brom. They've got a good set of next 3 fixtures. They've got a really tasty fixture list. And not only that, he's still right up there in terms of the FPL points, even though he's missed a game week. So big shout out to Callum Wilson.
If you're a genius, guys, you bought Callum Wilson last weekend like I did. And that's why it brings me onto my team. I know the listeners have been waiting to hear all about how Jimmy Ferg did. With that Wilson, I had to then take a -4. I heard Pellers say, you need to get Branthwaite out. The only way to do it is Nico Williams. So inspirationally, brought in Williams. Didn't realise that Trent Alexander was back and he came in second half. So that's a pointless transfer, really. But it cost me 4. Made me a point, I suppose. Wilson got me.
A point's a point, mate. A point's a point. Do you know
I'll
what I mean?
take it. Yeah, I'll take it. I saw someone tweeted that they would take the -point for Vardy breaking the corner flag. I was like, I would be absolutely disgusted with the man. Good kicker, wasn't it? So the other thing, though, boys. So obviously, I had that bit of misfortune. So my bench was Watkins, Wilson, Target. That didn't help. But outside of that, I had a good week. So 72 points in total. 618 overall. I am sitting 46th in the Poddy League. I'm only 11 points behind captain and Sean. I say only, it is quite far back, but there you go. De Bruyne captain, everyone copied me this week. I've had him for 5 weeks. You've all got him now. So then Son, Ziyech, as we mentioned, got injured. But I'm not too bad. I'm looking okay. I'm feeling confident with the team.
Yeah.
All right, lads, that's it. That's the fun from the Left Back FPL Poddy League. We leave it there. We move into the final section of the first half. It's the 1 clock, 1 flop. Captain Russ, take it away.
The Klopp of the week has to be, without a shadow of a doubt, the man from Crystal Palace, from the Palace, is the man Zaha. After coming back from COVID, the man was insane. He he was crazy, scored 2 goals and assists. He was all over the place. And there's Pogba behind the scenes saying, you can't run very fast after COVID. Just shows you what a waste of space that man is. For that comment alone, even though he scored a blinder of a goal, Pogba, you're not wanted at Man United, mate. Dog on.
Take a slow walk out.
Taxi for Pogba.
Captain, I think you hate Pogba more than Man United fans.
Well, he couldn't even bloody do an interview the other week, could he? He couldn't even stay awake. What kind of...
So does that mean that the flop has gone to Pogba?
Yep.
Excellent stuff. I wouldn't go against that. In that one statement where Pogba comes out and says, "Oh, you can't run much after COVID." Yet Wilf Zaha comes back in, knocks 2 goals in and gets an assist, lasts 80 minutes. Even Salah came back last week and got a goal disallowed and an assist, I think, was it? But
I have to say, I mentioned it to you lads as well during the game. There was multiple of times where the camera was on Pogba in midfield, right? And he was and the ball was literally I'm not joking, literally 5 yards away from him. And you could see him strolling around in the background. He's just, the man is... he's
infuriating.
Really overrated. Most overrated player ever.
Glad you guys are finally seeing that as well, because I've been calling that. Anyhow.
Great goal, though. Great goal.
Great goal. Yeah, it did go out play. I'll say that as a Man U fan. But guys, that's it for the first half. Brilliant stuff. Really great. Love chatting to you. A lot more coming in the second half, listeners. We have got our new part of the show, the Halftime Team Talk. We'll be answering all of your questions that you fired on Twitter. Make sure you listen to that. If you don't follow us on Twitter, do that now, at LeftBackFPL. I'm going to get myself a hot toddy. See you after the break.
Hey.
Welcome to Left Back FPL Halftime Team Talk.
Hey.
Hey.
Right.
Half-time team talk.
listeners, it is the first time we've done this. It's the halftime team talk. Looking forward to this. It's going to be great. So any questions you've sent in to us on Twitter, I'm going to put them to our pundits and they'll answer them for you. So if you don't follow us on Twitter yet, do that at LeftBackFPL and we'll answer your questions. So guys, the first question that's come in from Twitter this week, coming from Lord Lampard 211. He's asking, De Bruyne in for Mane? ? What do you reckon, NVD?
Definitely De Bruyne over Mane. I think there's a no-brainer there. De Bruyne is hitting form. Not that Mane's playing badly, but De Bruyne, I think, is going to start really racking up the points. He's cheaper as well, all right? Only 0.2 million, but still cheaper option. Yeah, I think definitely, without a doubt.
De Bruyne over Mane. I like the shout. Everyone else is nodding. I think they all agree with you. So Lord Lampard, we're saying De Bruyne over Mane. Now, this second question, guys, I really like this question. And I'm going to add on to it slightly myself. But it comes from Camogilio Sono. Hopefully I haven't butchered the name. But this year is also our year, is what he also calls himself by on Twitter. And he's saying, Pep Roulette, is it even worth trying to outwit Pep? Took a hit for Walker this weekend. He didn't play. I also had the captaincy on Sterling, but the thought of Pep benching him and him coming on for a one-pointer scared me off, and I switched it. If it's not KDB, is it even worth it? So it's a Man City-specific question. I can see where it comes from. And why I'll add on to this is because over the next 4 or 5 game weeks, listeners, they're coming thick and fast. We've got games every 3 days. In some cases, every other day. So there's going to be a real lot of roulette with all teams, I think. A lot of people being rested. Firstly, for Man City, how do you guys navigate that? Do you avoid the Pep roulette? And secondly, how are you going to navigate the next sort of 4 or 5 game weeks with all of the pauses that are coming up and all of, just the constant number of games? Ricky Pellegrini, what do you think on the outwitting Pep? Is it even worth it, or just stick with KDB?
Yeah, I think if it was me personally, I wouldn't stray too far from De Bruyne. I've noticed a few of the people in the top 10, of the overall standings have Ederson in goal. And you wouldn't really look at the Man City, back line as being completely solid this year, but they're going to pick up some clean sheets now. So Ederson may be a way to get into that back line who's not going to be rotated, right? I would have said before this game, I would have said Kyle Walker, but of course that I was proven wrong because he was rested. But he was the most, I would say, influential defender in terms of attacking returns. So I don't think he's going to get rotated that much, though. I know he was rotated this weekend, but he's just been so consistent this year. I would have him over any of the other defenders, other than, like I say, Ederson in goal. But I wouldn't risk Sterling. It's a good gamble. 11.4 million is just too pricey for me, though.
It's good shout, mate. Because we said last week Cancelo wasn't going to come back in because Mendy was back, but then Cancelo goes on the other side for Walker. You can't call it. I mean, you just don't know if Walker will now get back in. You'd think he would, but I like the Ederson shout. I mean, you've got West Brom coming up for them. They've got Man U next, but then West Brom, Southampton, Newcastle, Everton, Chelsea. I'm not say it. I'm not convinced of clean sheets, but anyone else got anything to add on that, Captain? I saw you squirreling away. Do you think KDB's the only one for City because of the rotation? But even he's going to come out at some point, no?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've always said that I wouldn't venture out with. I haven't even ventured out with any other players this season apart from KDB at the beginning of the season. Sterling's just not. It's just not consistent. Yeah. And as in when he will play or not. But
it's also when he will play and when he'll actually perform and turn up as well, Sterling. Because if sometimes he plays and sometimes Mahrez play. And they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They're inconsistent, firstly, in their performance, but also inconsistent on whether they're even getting in Pep's team. So to your point there, KDB performs a bit better generally and plays more, right?
Yeah, and he's like I would probably say he is one of the best. Well, is the best midfielder in the world, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, he's not bad. Have you seen that Daniel James guy, the Man U?
And he a postman or something.
Yeah, he delivers Pogba's post. Pogba can't get out to the bottom of the drive. He gets too tired. Thank you guys. NVD, Patrick Vieira, I'm interested to hear from you guys on the second part of that question. And it's really, how are you going to plan for this hectic schedule that we've got coming up in the next 5 game weeks, in fact, even 6, up from game week 12 to game week 17. That's the period of Friday the 11th of December to Saturday the 2nd of Jan. In just 3 weeks, we've got 5 game weeks. There's going to be rotations. Do you think like a bench boost a free hit could be used? How are you going to navigate it, guys?
Well, personally, for me, I'm going to make sure that I've got a good bench so that when rotation happens and I'm unaware of it, a strong bench can come in, or a strongish bench can come in. But other than that, it's difficult to work out.
I mean, that's the best answer I've ever heard, because other than that, it's like, what else can you do? But NVD, what about the players that you think, like Jack Grealish, Villa, is he ever going to get rested?
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the other thing, right? And Grealish and Zaha were probably 2 of those players, for example, in your midfield as alternates that I thought, they're so reliant upon in their respective teams that it's very difficult for their managers to rest them. So, I would 100% be somehow, some way trying to get Grealish back in the team, if not Zaha. But I think you'd just be looking for players, even some of the strikers, for example, Bamford even, he's going to play most games, to be honest, for Leeds. I think they've got a wealth of attacking options. So certain players like that just have to be relied upon.
Yeah.
I think kind of you stick with them, try and get them in your team. If some of them can form your suspense, then great. If not, I think sacrifice for a few game weeks. You never know. You might be quids in and get a few points out of them.
Yeah, but the thing to that point though, NVD, is some of them and a lot of them are first teamers, right? So Grealish, Zaha, you'd probably have them in your first team. I wouldn't be buying them and putting them on the subs bench. So I think, you do perhaps go for 1 or 2 of them, because you won't have enough money to leave them on your subs bench.
Well, exactly. But, you're not going to be able to, week in, week out, let's say, kind of get a De Bruyne out and then, throw somebody in. So if for example, you've got like a Zaha in your team, that he might be able to kind of get you certain points. So you can, for example, either because De Bruyne is not going to play, or he's going to drop to your bench because he doesn't start, you're going to get some points. So is where I'm coming from.
So you're sort of hedging your bets, because I can see, like earlier we say, yourself, you've got De Bruyne, Son, Salah, Fernandes in midfield, right? Those 4 players, big, heavy hitters.
They could all be rested 1 week.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Whereas, because they're all quite expensive, if you were to say downgrade Son, for example, to Zaha or Grealish, who may play every single one of those weeks, it's a tough one, though, isn't it? Because, if they don't play, you just can't guess it, really, can you? And I mean, for Tottenham, surely you'd think Son will get rested on one of them, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think the shout about the strikers was a good one as well that you mentioned, MBD, because you don't really see it as often, do you, with some of the strikers, especially at let's call it the lower teams. You can't imagine Newcastle really resting that much. I mean, Werner, obviously, he does get taken off early sometimes, so he might get rotated a bit.
Yeah.
So those top teams, a bit riskier, but the lower teams, the teams like Wolves as well. I know we referenced that as before. The strikers are, I think the strikers are going to be more of a safe option. And you mentioned Bamford as well there.
Pellers, that's an excellent shout. That's why we keep you around, mate. Last week it was Nico Williams.
And Bowen, you've got to get Bowen in your team.
Bowen has to be
another shout.
That's a very good shout, and I like that. And And it just made me think, like, you mentioned Callum Wilson at Newcastle, right? And you guys mentioned Grealish. Newcastle and Villa have got an advantage going into this hectic period because they didn't play. Anyhow, listeners, other than that, Patrick Vieira's shout of get a strong bench, contenders for that, we've given him before, but, you know, cheaper players that do play, the sort of Lookmans in this world, you know, could be worth having a little butcher's at. Fantastic, guys. Thank you. We've got time for 2 more questions in the halftime team talk. Next question that's come in, we've sort of answered this, but Yafet B34 would like to know, is Jota overhyped to invest in him? And I think we answered this in the first half, but Captain Russ, you had a strong feeling on this.
Yeah, I mean, I did get him into my team, and I'm glad I did. But now that Salah's back, I just don't think. I think, you know, he's gonna be on the bench for a bit. I think, like, Salah's not replaceable with Jota.
So, dude, in Jota overhyped. We don't think, you know, we were calling it before, but we don't think long term he's worth it. So Yafet, I wouldn't be getting on him. And that brings me to the final question in this halftime team talk, lads. Great question, this one. Adam Collier has asked, is Bruno Fernandes a must-have? I have got Son, Kane, KDB and Salah. So I'd probably have to remove one of them. Is Bruno Fernandes a must-have? Vieira, you've got him. What do you think?
I don't have him. I did have him.
You did have him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Commentator's curse.
I had him for the majority of the first half of this first part of the season, and then I switched him out because Man United weren't really performing, and then his price skyrocketed after that. So I'm still deciding whether to try and bring him in or not. I think he'll be an influential player for Man United in all the games, but is he worth getting in over, you know, another big hitter? He's not going to be the only one that's going to score points every week. So it's just depending on how your team's positioned at the moment. You know, if you got Salah or De Bruyne or Son in your team already, I wouldn't look to switch those out for him. But if you got space to slot him in over someone else, then I'd try and bring him in.
But I mean, Vieira's on the fence there. He thinks there's other options and you can't have them all. So to him, Fernandes, he's not convinced that he's the one to have over the others. Does anybody feel differently?
Yeah, I think personally, I think Fernandes is a must-have, especially United 4 games on the bounce. You know, the one. I know they're playing City this week, so I would rest, perhaps hold off 1 more week. But then I do think Fernandes. He proved it at the weekend against West Ham. He's kind of the catalyst. I think without Fernandes in the team, I just don't think Man United are going to be able to push for that top 4 or the title challenge. But who do you take out? That is the question, right? If you've got all the other big hitters, who do you take out?
They are heavily reliant on him. NVD, anything that you're thinking?
No, I agree, and which is why I've got him in my team. I didn't want to see those points go by, to be honest. I think, as Paolo said, and as you guys have said in the show already, he's so influential. You're always going to be reliant on him, whether it's a penalty or an assist.
Yeah, he gets free kicks as well, doesn't he? Likes to roll around on the floor a bit and holding his shins and
like Grealish,
player, mate, through and through. You learned that from Ronaldo. You know, you guys called it there. If United do anything, it goes through him, and that's the difference between him, perhaps, and Man City, and perhaps even Tottenham to a degree, but. What I'd read outright is Son, last 4 games, 13 points, 3, 10, 3. KDB, last 4 games, 14, 10, 2, 3. Fernandes, 6, 10, 11, 17. The guy returns heavily. For me, like, if you had to remove one, I know, and this is crazy to be saying it, but for me, it would be KDB. And I know he's just come in, he's just hit form, but
like you say, the table doesn't lie, right? He's not even in the top 10 right now. So yes, he's doing well. They've had a good couple of fixtures, but to put KDB right now over Salah, Son, or even Grealish.
The only issue with Grealish, I think, he's like, I think he's just as good a quality player as any of the others. But I think, like, with the players around him, I think that could be his possible down.
He has to carry the team, doesn't he, Grealish?
Yeah.
On his own. Barkley's out.
Yeah, and like if you look at Man City, for example, it's a whole different ball game now.
But so guys, just to round this out though, for Adam Collier for his question, if he wanted Fernandes, he's got Son, Kane, KDB, and Salah. If he could work it in, which of those 4 players would you remove? He's got 2 Spurs there. He's got Son and Kane.
Kane.
You'd get Kane out.
Yeah, I agree.
Kane.
Boovers.
Kane. I tell you what I'd do, Adam, is
he's a great defender as well, man. You see, like he spent a lot. See that red mark on his head by the end of the 90 minutes. He was like constantly heading that ball out of the box. Amazing.
Oh, Adam, there you go. Then the guys reckon Kane out. I think you should get Son out, mate. He's in 58% of teams. That's a huge amount of teams. If he blanks 1 week, you'll do very well. But we do collectively think Fernandes is a must. So you've got a bit of work to do there, mate.
Isn't Son also like? Wouldn't he be doing some kind of like national service?
Yeah,
as well?
That's a good point.
Might be out for a few weeks, perhaps.
Oh, is he?
When are you guys doing that?
Really?
Every year he has to do it, right?
Oh, that's a big breaking news there.
I don't know when that is. I just fact check.
He does, mate. He has mandatory military service.
There you go.
And he had to do it for 2 years. So he's done the 2 years and he came back with 10 badges.
Cub Scout.
Camping badge.
Superb, gents. That is brilliant. That's the halftime team talk done. The first one ever. Quite like that. Regular part of the show, do we think?
Very insightful.
Yeah. Why not? There you go then, listeners. If you have questions, get us on Twitter. You get a call out. We'll answer your question. Hope that's helpful. Excellent stuff, guys. So moving into our penultimate section of the show, it is the Game Week 12 fixtures. We're going to have a quick look at the Game Week 12 fixtures. We're going to tell you where the points are, where the clean sheets are, where's the value, who do you need to have, who should you perhaps not have. And the thing I've got to admit this week is it's going to be slightly different. There are so many games coming thick and fast. We're going to do Game Week 12, and then we're going to have a little bit of a look at Game Week 13 for you as well. Those games start Tuesday the 15th, so we will not have time to bring you a podcast in time for that. So we'll cover both Game Week 12 and Game Week 13. With that said, the first game of Game Week 12, it's Leeds versus West Ham. Of course, you wouldn't expect anything less. Come on, you Irons. Tell us what's happening here.
Come on, you Irons. Glad to see the fans back. Leeds versus West Ham. This is going to be a tricky test for West Ham, obviously coming off the back of a defeat after such a good run. I think this is going to be a 2-2. I'm just going to say I don't see West Ham winning this game. I think Leeds just got that something special. They've shown against the big teams they are competing this year. I think Bamford over the next 2 games, because don't forget Leeds, after playing West Ham at home, have also got Newcastle at home. So that's 2 fixtures people will be looking at. Bamford is one of the top transferred in this week as well. So a lot of people are agreeing with that notion. So I think 2-2. I think from the West Ham side, I'm going to go for my lad Bowen, believe it or not. Antonio might be back because we're really missing him. I'm not convinced about Haller the Hammer. So if Antonio's back, then West Ham might nick it. If he's not, I'm saying 2-2. Going on to that Leeds-Newcastle game, which will be the midweek game next week, I can see again Leeds doing well. I think Leeds will edge that one though. I would see a goal from Callum Wilson on the Newcastle side, but Leeds, I think Bamford again. So I think Bamford is the highlight of those 2 games.
Superb. So you're seeing a lot of value in Bamford, Dempelers. 2-2, Leeds versus West Ham. Could see that. I mean, they both score, they both attack. Looks good. Superb stuff. And Bowen on the West Ham side. Antonio, if he's back. that brings us into the second game of the game week. Wolves versus Aston Villa. And I believe...
Oh!
It's NVD's back. You looked at this for us, mate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, Villa didn't play the last game week. Obviously, their game against Newcastle postponed for COVID reasons. I think they're going to be a little bit fresher. I tipped them to beat Wolves. I think Wolves kind of slightly jaded, to be honest, post Jimenez's injury. Not that they didn't look threatening when they played Liverpool. It's just, I think, that lack of clinical finishing and end product, to be honest. I think, whilst they've got good players like Podence and Neto, who are probably going to be your go-to players from an FPL perspective, they just don't lack that kind of killer instinct and that finishing ability that Jimenez does and that we've relied upon. And I think that's one of the reasons why, I'm going for Villa. I think, you can't really look past Grealish and Watkins. Grealish makes them tick and Watkins is, he's seen to, put them away, to be honest. He's got, 49 points already this season in 8% of teams. So, he's in for 6.1 million. He's a decent attacking option. So I think, I definitely edge Grealish and Watkins over the Wolves players, and I predict a 2-1 win for Villa.
2-1 win for Villa. Solid analysis of that game, mate. I think Watkins, for me, also, he turns it on, doesn't he, against the bigger teams? And I'm classifying Wolves as a bigger team because I do believe they are. But he did it, didn't he, against Liverpool? And he also knocked in a couple against, was it Chelsea? He knocked in a couple against Watkins?
Yeah, Liverpool, and I think it was Chelsea. So, yeah, I mean, he's a good shout.
Close enough. From London. It was Arsenal, wasn't it? 13 against Arsenal, 19 against Liverpool. There is only...
Also unlucky against West Ham as well. Don't forget, he did miss the penalty and he got a disallowed goal. So he's still, like you say, MVD, he's banging them in.
But he also scored pillars against Southampton. So the only teams he's blanked against have been like Brighton, Fulham, Sheffield United. He doesn't do it against the small team. NVD, if I told you this, Wolves have won 2 of their last 5. Villa have won 1 of their last 5. Would that change your feeling on that game?
No, not really. I mean, it's a gut feel, to be honest, which is most likely probably going to be wrong. But no, I just feel Villa will be fresher. They've got a lot to prove, ground to make up as well, so they should be hungrier coming into this game. So yeah, that's why I'm feeling that they will win.
I was going to say, as you look to game week 13.
To game week 13, I wouldn't say necessarily gets any easier, to be honest, for Wolves. They play Chelsea, albeit at home. Now, unless kind of Chelsea start rotating, then that potentially kind of gives Wolves a shout. But again, Wolves-wise, you can't really look past that Neto and Podence.
What you're really saying, though, from what I'm hearing, is there's no value in Wolves for the next 2 game weeks, in your opinion.
Yeah, I just saw a shift in them, to be honest, when they played Liverpool. I think kind of they gave us such a tough time the season beforehand, and I know again Jimenez was there. Traore, whilst he's been marauding down the wing, hasn't probably looked as sharp as he did last season. And I think just little kinks like that are starting to kind of undo Wolves a little bit.
Yeah, no, definitely. And in Villa, mate, so their second game week 13, they play Burnley. Burnley have let in 18 goals, scored 5. That's the same as Sheffield United.
That's right, yeah. So I think, again, this is going to potential field day for the likes of Grealish and Watkins again. But look, I think as well, you've got players like Konsa and Martinez. If they're going to keep clean sheets, a lot of FPL managers have got Martinez in your team. I think kind of that Martinez McCarthy's a good balance, but you may want to get Martinez in for that game. But again, a cheap defender if you want to spend elsewhere in the midfield, like we discussed. Konsa's a good shout. He's got 44 points.
Excellent stuff. And there's no downplaying why most people have bought Grealish in this week. He's the most transferred in. You look at the next 3, Villa have got Wolves, as NVD mentioned, Burnley, and then West Brom. Definitely a team to be looking at. We go on to game 3 of game week 12. I mentioned West Brom. They play away at Newcastle. Newcastle versus West Brom. And Patrick Vieira, you had the privilege of this game. What are you seeing here?
Everyone will only be looking at Newcastle to win this. West Brom haven't been doing particularly well. They're right down towards the bottom of the table. And so the focus will be on Wilson to, keep up his good form and get a goal in for this one. So I don't think there's any real value in either of these teams apart from Wilson. So if you've got him in, pretty positive that he'll get a goal. I think this will be a 2-0 to Newcastle. So maybe if you've got any Newcastle defenders, they might be able to pick up a point. Darlow, for example, the goalkeeper, might be able to get a clean sheet here. But really, not too much value to this unless you've got Wilson.
Superb, mate. And what about, I can see it being 2-0, but what about our man Conor Gallagher with his perm?
What perm?
Well, he's there for the perm, isn't he? He's got a great perm. He's there for the entertainment value. So he's good to watch the game for that.
Love the perm. And going into game week 13, Patrick, what do you think about Newcastle and West Brom, both of them? Either of them any value for both game weeks?
For West Brom, unfortunately, they've got Man City. So, again, I don't think anyone should really have any West Brom players in their team.
Not even the perm.
Not even the perm. You can watch the game for that, but no players in your FPL team.
I'm setting the alarm now for that.
So this game's another one. This game's another one that people have been, thinking about bringing in Man City players for. Certainly Kevin De Bruyne. So this one, I can see it being a high-score game. Well, a good score game. I'm going to just give it 3-0 for this. So if you've got any De Bruyne, Sterling, or Ederson, or perhaps even Walker, but like we said before, there's so many games in these next few weeks. It's going to be difficult to determine which player to bring in. So my money's going to be on De Bruyne. He's going to be in my team throughout the next few weeks.
3-0 Man City against West Brom in game week 13. So, Patrick, you're telling us no value in West Brom. I think you're completely right there. For Newcastle, you are saying Wilson, and Wilson's been very much transferred in. They've got West Brom and Leeds.
Yeah, he's pretty consistent. He seems to always get a goal, often get a goal every week. 7
for the season. If Newcastle score, it's invariably going to be Callum Wilson. He's got 7 out of their 12. That's crazy. Yeah. All right, great stuff. Thank you, Patrick. That goes into game 4 of the game week 12. It's Manchester United versus Manchester City. God, guys, it doesn't get any more mouthwatering than this. It's still the biggest game ever, other than perhaps Man U Liverpool. Questionably, what a game. I can't wait for it. And I really, really am excited. We're both going into it, both in good form over the last few. Man United have won 4 of the last 5. City have won 3 of the last 5. I got to say, I don't know which way it's going to go. It's the first time I've looked at it and thought, I don't definitely think Man City are better than us at the moment. And I think Manchester United have got a great amount of sort of positive things going on at the moment. So I'm never going to back against United. I'm going to say United are going to do City. And it's the game of the big hitters. It's going to be Fernandes versus De Bruyne. It's whoever can come out on top of that battle. And for me, Fernandes will come out on top of that battle. He's well rested, 45 minutes in the last game. Let's see how he does in the Champions League this week. But I just see it. I can just see Fernandes, Rashford's coming good. Greenwood's got on the score sheet. A lot of positive stuff for Man United. On the City side, arguably the same, right? Mahrez has just hit form. Sterling's hit form for one game, albeit. De Bruyne has hit form. Going to be a great game, guys. I'm seeing, yesteryear derbies where it was Michael Owen scoring the winner in the last minute. That won't happen this time. Owen's not in the squad.
Snake.
The Snake's not in the squad. It's going to be 3-3, though. It's going to be a draw. It's going to be a really great game. And I think, City will probably actually dominate the possession, but United will get a couple of breakaway goals. City will come back into it. So 3-3. Fernandes, for me, will get one from the spot. Rashford will bang in the other 2. And on the City side, you're going to have Jesus scoring a brace, and you're going to have De Bruyne curling in a free kick. So that's what I'm seeing.
What you're saying is that VAR will really help out Man United in that game.
It will, if we can do that curler out of play where the cameras we'll be back on. So I'll take it. But the next game, it's a game week 13, guys. Vieira, you've already called it. Man City play West Brom. Can't see anything but a Man City win. But for Manchester United, Sheffield United are the team we play in game week 13. Away at Sheffield United, everything points towards a Man United victory. Could be a banana skin. They've won one game, Sheffield United, all season. Sorry, they've won no games. They've drawn one all season. They've got to win a game, surely. Surely this isn't it. I don't see it. I'm never backing against United. We'll go to Sheffield United. Could be 5-0, guys. There we go. Everyone's agreeing. I can see lots of people nodding, captain stroking the chin like, yeah, shut up.
Brewster's going to get a hat-trick. He's going to upset Manchester United.
Oh, the Brewster. It's the Brewster show.
No, you're absolutely right. They've become the whipping boys. I think they've got the lowest points scored to date of Premier League seasons. And yeah, shambles. Polar opposites from last season. So can't look past a United win, unfortunately.
And we had Chris Wilder on the show last week, and he said he's going to turn it round, but we ain't seen any signs of that. Even lost to Leicester, and even Fulham beat Leicester. But there we go. Game 5 of game week 12. Everton versus Chelsea. Captain Russ. Where's the value? Where are the points? What should we be doing with these two teams for the next 2 game weeks?
I think it's all on Chelsea, isn't it? They're going to be the main, one of the main top teams that are going to up for the Premiership title this season. Everton are all right. I think they've taken a bit of a step back. I'm not seeing that quality from them last few weeks. DCL, he got a goal, right? I don't see the quality in Everton at the moment, and I think DCL will get a few more goals in, but I don't think he can be totally relied upon. I mean, especially when he's up against Chelsea, quality defence. Everton have got a dodgy defence, so like my money would definitely be on the Wiener, even Pulisic.
Gonna get it out.
Yeah, I reckon. I don't think Everton are going to put any away that weekend. I think it's going to be all Chelsea. I reckon it's going to be about 2-0.
I mean, Everton, like you say, 1 win in 5. Chelsea, 4 wins in 5. Pulisic is back in again.
Yeah,
could play, could score. So you see the away team winning that. Okay, great stuff, mate. And then when you look at game week 13, Everton away against Leicester and Chelsea away against Wolves.
I can see Everton and Leicester is going to be interesting because both teams have got dodgy defence, right? Even Leicester's defence is not that great this season. So I think it's all going to be down. It's going to be like a duel between the strikers, right? You've got DCL, you've got Vardy. It's going to be whoever's on form on the day, I think. And they are, neither of them, like Vardy needs a service. And if like the likes of Maddison or any of the other midfielders that are not kind of like in that kind of zone, then he's not going to get provided. And it's the same situation with DCL as well. If like Richarlison switches off, I can't see DCL performing either. I mean,
do you see many goals though in this Leicester Everton?
I think it's gonna be a few goals maybe like it could be like I reckon 2-2.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a tasty game because both of them are not playing great at the moment. Both would like to win, so there could be goals for both the strikers in that one.
For sure, yeah.
And NVD claimed, Wolves wouldn't be able to take Chelsea. Tough games for Chelsea. 2 away games versus Everton and then Wolves. If they win this, it really proves they're title contender. All right, guys. Excellent stuff, Captain. Thank you for that insight. Couldn't agree more. I think Chelsea where the money is. Everton not for that first game, maybe for the second one. But, you'd call out DCL. From the Chelsea perspective, you've called out the Wiener and Pulisic.
Yeah, I got one question for you all. What do you think of Abraham?
Yeah, Giroud has kind of stole that spot since their European game they played with Week. He scored Giroud scored like 4 goals or something, right? So he's put himself in the team and he's proven that age is just a number. I think Giroud is going to be a good shout for FPL actually, probably low ownership.
Are you going to get him, Pellers?
I might even swap the Wiener. He's going to save me a little bit of money, and like you say, Chelsea are top.
No way! You're going to get Giroud in for the Wiener.
You know what? You never know.
What's the price difference? Out of curiosity.
He's in 1.1% of teams. He's 6.7 million. He's managed to score a total of 11 points in games. That bloke ain't going to team. I'm telling you that.
If he starts playing, you never know. He could be a shout. Give it a couple of
weeks. If I start playing, you never know. You do know. I'm a blinding linesman. All right, guys. I don't see Giroud coming in, but good try. But to your point, Captain, Abraham, no, what Pellers was saying is that, I don't know, what your point was on Abraham. You think he's lost his spot to Giroud, basically?
Yeah, I'm not on about just like the weekend before, but the weekend before that as well. I just don't see...
Yeah.
He had so much opportunity.
We were slating Abraham beginning of the season. None of us were on him. We said it wasn't his time. Tammy had his time. I'm still of that opinion personally, mate. Whether Giroud plays or not, I mean, for me, he's a risk. Better players, man. There's Watkins, Bamford, Che Adams,
Danny Ings.
Yeah, Callum Wilson. Similar prices that are all going to play. Jog on. No Abraham. All right, guys. Southampton versus Sheffield United. Big game for Saints. I mean, if they win this, they're back into potentially the top 4. Can anyone believe that Leicester are still in 4th?
No. They're terrible. I don't rate them at all.
They're jammy, aren't they? They're jammy. Vardy got that one like late winner the other day.
Yeah. Penalties.
Yeah, they do not deserve to be in 4th. West Ham does. No, I'm joking. Not Man United and Southampton and Man City. Go on, you guys. Leicester will definitely be dropping down. They're going to be battling. They will be battling out with us and Everton actually for like 8th and 9th, 7th, 8th and 9th.
I'm sure you're right. But Southampton, Sheffield United. Who's looked at this game, guys? Game 6 of game week 12. It was me. Excellent game, this one. Can't wait for it. Southampton, Sheffield United. We already covered it. Sheffield United are dire. No wins, 1 draw, 10 defeats. Saints are going to absolutely destroy them. Guys, I'm going for a big score in this one as well. I think Sheffield United keep it tight first half, but over the course of the game, Southampton are going to show them what it's all about. I think it's going to be 3-0 to the Saints. I think they're going to be humming. And I think with Danny Ings back, massive for Southampton. He's going to get a brace and he's going to get an assist. And you know where that third goal's coming from? Sean the John McGinn fanboy will like this. Ward Prowse. I see Ward Prowse curling the free kick in. So that's where it's coming from, I think. I'm hopeful that Walker Peters will get an assist like he did this week because I've got the man, but not convinced. But anyhow, you look at game week 13, gets pretty nice for Southampton. They got Arsenal, a weakened Arsenal team. Definitely going to be a Saints win again. I think Southampton have got 2-2 here. I think this one's a little bit different, but I think it's 2-1 to Southampton. And we talk about the depth and the strength of depth in squads, and they've got Armstrong and Walcott. 2 players for me that are decent. Walcott goes back to Arsenal, is going to knock one in. And for the Saints, Danny Ings again. So I'm seeing 3 and 2 from Danny Ings. So Southampton, a good couple of games coming up, listeners. I would consider getting Danny back in the team. If you're thinking, I've got Werner, but he's not quite doing it, why not? No one else has got
What about Che Adams?
Well, Danny Ings is in 5.7% of teams. Che Adams in 7.6%. I was bigging up Che Adams last week. and he ain't scored in the last 3, so I'm going to do a U-turn. I'm going to do a U-turn, parallel park, and a reverse around the corner to Danny Ings.
Know what I'm going to do then?
What are you going to do? 69.
Completely the opposite of what you say, mate.
You're getting Che Adams and Giroud up top. I can see it. Oh, lovely stuff, guys. Sheffield United, no value both weeks for me. They've got Southampton and Man United. No more goals coming for Sheffield United. 2 blanks, in my opinion. The next game, Crystal Palace versus Spurs. Captain Russ, how are Spurs going to do in the next 2 game weeks?
I don't think you're going to get a big score from Crystal Palace this week. I think, Zaha's back. Everyone's glad that he's back, but I can't see with Spurs' defence at the moment, pretty solid. I reckon, I can see, from last few games Spurs and Crystal Palace have had, I can see it being 2-0 for Spurs. I can see another Harry Kane goal, and I think even though we've said Son, he's been playing well, but I think I can see 2 goals coming from Harry Kane this week.
Double from Kane and Cleany as well for Spurs, you say?
Yeah.
And what about when we go into game week 13? Is the Spurs clean? Do you know what? What a game, Spurs Liverpool.
I know.
Could be an early title decider. That's good.
Top of the table clash.
It will be a great game. That will be a game to watch for sure.
We're going to see the double-decker bus. It might be a triple-decker bus. Do you think Spurs will keep a clean sheet against Liverpool?
Nah.
No.
Nah. Definitely not.
What's the score in that game?
I think it's going to be 2-0 Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool. And what about Palace, mate, for the week after? They've got
Palace and West Ham against the Hammers.
Lions.
Bowen.
Lions.
Good words.
Yeah.
At the London Stadium.
Exactly.
Stadium.
They'll have their irons, their hammers. They'll be bashing down that Crystal Palace. I don't know. It's going to be. I think Zaha's going to get on the goal sheet. I think West Ham will probably get a goal. I think it's going to be 1-0.
1-0. The Irons will try and bash down the Palace, but Captain seeing a 1 each. Zaha, who for West Ham, mate? Is it going to be Bowen, Pella's best mate?
Bowen, Pella's love child. Bowen's a great player. He's all over the pitch, and I wouldn't be surprised if he puts one away.
And Pella's, remind us, what did you say on that game? West Ham versus Palace? I
didn't actually give a score prediction. I think West Ham have to win that game. Again, if we're serious about staying around that kind of 6th, 7th position, we've got to be beating Crystal Palace, and we've got to be beating them at home as well, right? We don't want, now that the fans are back, we don't want to start losing at the London Stadium like it was before. So we want to consolidate on the early fortunes that we've had. I think West Ham would beat Palace, actually. I think Captain's right. I think we will not keep a clean sheet. I think Zaha will score. But I think it'll be 3-1 to West Ham. I think we'll get 3 that day.
All right, so Pella's 3-1 West Ham versus Palace in game week 13. Where are those goals coming from?
So I think Bowen's going to get a trick. No, I don't really think Bowen's going to get a trick. I think our lad Ben Rama will show up that game. He's starting to play more and more minutes as since he's been signed. I think we're starting to give up on Haller the Hammer a little bit. He's just not really putting in the work rate like Antonio does. So I think he's going to start experimenting. I think he's going to have to. So I think Ben Rama, I think Bowen, and I think the lad Souček will get one again. So look out for those 3.
Look out for those lads. Lovely stuff, Pillars. Listeners, one thing Captain called out there is Spurs will keep a cleanie against Palace. Might not against Liverpool, but what you've got to think about is Spurs, right? And this is a bit of a tip here, listeners. The last 3 games, I think, Captain, you've kept clean sheets in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And there's been some big games there as well where you've managed to do that. And
yeah, I think I'm going to consider getting a Spurs defender in. Not sure who yet, but I think it might be worthwhile. Even if they don't keep a clean sheet this week, like I can see like a few cleanies like in the after, especially after Christmas. So
I've actually undersold you. You've kept clean sheets in the last 4 games, and listeners, a way into that Spurs defence is Eric Dyer. Not one of our personal favourite players. We're not convinced he's that good, but he's playing centre back. He's kept clean sheets in the last 4.
4.9.
Yeah, that cheap 4.9. He's away in there. That's 24 points, right? Okay, guys, 3 games left. Let's get through these. It's Fulham versus Liverpool. Game 7. Patrick Vieira against NVD. Really, Vieira. Are your boys gonna do Liverpool, or what are you thinking?
Yeah, Fulham versus Liverpool. No, Fulham aren't going to win this, sure. But like I said, they're on a good trajectory, so I don't think it'll be a complete whitewash. I think Liverpool will probably get 2-0, but I'll let NVD put in his 2 pence for this one.
Yeah, I'd like to put a smile on Patrick Vieira's face, but no, unfortunately, I can't see a home. Maybe later, but I can't see it being a home win, to be honest. I think Liverpool will be too much for Fulham. Salah and Mane like this particular fixture. They like scoring this fixture in previous results. So yeah, I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go 3-1. I think Fulham will score. I don't think they're completely toothless. I don't think it'll be a complete. I don't think it'll be a complete haul. I thought they played pretty decent against City, so they managed to kind of stay compact in the second half. So it won't be a massive score, but 3-1. I'm going for Liverpool. Fulham.
Vieira, what's happening for Fulham anyway, mate? Game week 13.
I think this might be in their hands. So again, Fulham have turned things around, and they're not really playing Mitrovic much anymore, and they're relying on their new loan players that they brought in, and it's working well for them. So I think they'll win this one against Brighton, 2-1, with Lookman looking in, and maybe Loftus-Cheek too. So there's a few little players in Fulham that you could start to look at to bring into your FPL team as cheap players. But 2-1 to Fulham.
2-1 to Fulham. I actually do like Lookman. I think he's a good shout. NVD, we heard from Captain. He thinks that Liverpool are going to do Spurs 2-0. What do you think?
I can't see us keeping a clean sheet against Spurs. Unfortunately, they're just, they're very strong attacking wise. We've spoken, countless times about the beloved 69 of Son and Kane. I think with Liverpool's defence, I know that we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold coming back, but still, I think they'll definitely score. I do think it's going to be really tight. I think it will be 2-1, to be honest. Firmino loves scoring in this fixture. He loves scoring against Spurs, so I'm actually kind of going to keep on with that tradition and actually back Firmino instead of Salah and Mane in this game. But for the game against Fulham, money's definitely on. I'm actually going to put my money on Mane as opposed to Salah, but Salah will get a goal. So 2 for Mane and 1 for Salah against Fulham, and then Firmino and Salah against Spurs.
Does that mean you think that Jota's not going to get a game, or at least not a full game against Spurs?
I don't know if he'll get a full game against Spurs. If anything, to be honest, he could be in with a shout against Fulham. But no, I think Spurs at home as well. Not only do we want to kind of keep that home record that we've had for so long, what is it now, 65 games or something, but it's a massive game. It really is a potential title, an early season title contender game. So it's going to be strongest 11 or strongest possible 11.
My money's on Dyer giving away a penalty.
You should get minus points for giving away a penalty, just saying.
I know. I can see it. I can see it already.
But let's not get carried away. It won't be a title decider. Spurs will slip to 5th. It's only a matter of time. Moving into the last two games of the weekend. Arsenal versus Burnley, Leicester versus Brighton. Pellers, you looked at both of these games for us. What do you think about these four teams, mate, in both game week 12 and 13?
I did. I think out of these four teams, firstly, Arsenal versus Burnley. I mean, everyone's talking about Arsenal. There's even rumours of, Arteta already, being looked at, even though he's, put in there as a long-term project. So they're 15th right now. You don't really see Arsenal as bad as they have been since Wenger left. They're dicing with some dangerous games here. But I do think, albeit their bad run, they haven't won in the last four games. Last game they did win, it was, like you say, Jim, it was against United, a 1-0 win away from home. I think Aubameyang's going to score against Burnley. It's about time, right? Aubameyang is usually a standout performer the last 3 or 4 seasons. He even got the Golden Boot a couple of seasons ago. So 11.5 million, yes, he's expensive, but I think he's going to score against Burnley. They also have Southampton the week after, and I think he'll score against Southampton as well. So I think looking at Aubameyang might be a cheeky way in to climb up your leagues. He's only owned in 9.5% of teams, and not many people are going to make that braver move. So if you need to go up your league, I think Aubameyang could do it. So I think it could be 2-0 to Arsenal here against Burnley. I think they will finally keep a clean sheet because I think all eyes will be on Arteta for this one.
11.5, mate, Aubameyang. Are you going to get
11.5? Yeah, him and Giroud I'm going to go for. I'm just going to try and outclass everyone. But and Bowen, Bowen just captain.
Strong shout.
Against Southampton, I do honestly think, I think it could be the time for Arsenal to start going up the league. I just don't see him sitting there. And I think 2 home games, at the Emirates, against Burnley, against Southampton. Other season you would bet on Arsenal, wouldn't you?
No, I agree with you, mate. I do think Aubameyang needs to start scoring, and he came close against Spurs. He had a chance, but I can see him scoring against Burnley, and I can see him perhaps being there or thereabouts against Saints, but he's 11.5. He's a midfielder. I find it hard to put him in over a Fernandes. That's the thing, isn't it? And I think that's what
Jim,
I can't believe he's 11.5. That's just crazy. Why has he not gone down? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. Right?
I think he started at 12 million. I think he was the same price as Salah at the beginning of the season. He signed that new contract, and Arsenal were looking, someone good with Arteta coming in.
But they're overpriced, mate. The Arsenal players, they're overpriced. You've got Pepe at 6. It's like they think they're a good team, and Lacazette 8-3, like just overpriced.
Yeah, massively underperforming.
Definitely. And Burnley, Pellers, they played Villa the weekend after.
Yeah, I think, you guys were touching on before. I think Villa, you cannot ignore them. I think Grealish and Watkins, I think, will be all over that. I think they will not keep a clean sheet against Villa. I think Chris Woods, my cousin, will get on the score sheet. He always looks dangerous, right? He doesn't always get a double-digit haul, but he's pretty consistent in terms of an attacking option for Burnley. I think if the goals are going to come, it's going to come through him. So I would look for Burnley if you were looking for kind of an outside cheap option there. But I do see Villa nicking that game.
So he's got two out of their 5 this season. So your cousins scored 40% of their goals. But I think what you're really saying is Arsenal and Burnley probably not worth investing in either team.
No, unless you are willing to take a punt, take a little bit of a gamble with Aubameyang. I think that's the only player I can really shout out though. In those 2 teams. Leicester Brighton after that. We've been talking about Leicester. They're kind of the opposite of Arsenal. They're overperforming, and I think it's inevitable they will drop down. You can't ignore Jamie Vardy against Brighton at home. You can't really ignore him. He's already proven to be, worth having in your team. Yes, he's expensive. Would you have him over Kane? No. Would I have him over Werner? Yes. So, out of all these teams here, he's still got a respectable 74 points. So I think his ownership will go up. Leicester's second game against Everton. And also Leicester are at home. So we've talked about how Everton are also starting to drop down that table. And again, I can see Leicester winning that one. So I think Jamie Vardy all the way for both those games.
Yeah, like to shout. Jamie Vardy, third top scorer in the league, 9 goals, behind Son with 10 and DCL with 11. So I agree with that, Pellers. And that brings us, guys, to a conclusion. Brighton, we don't really mention them. There's no point. Lamptey's all right. But there you go.
Don't get a yellow card.
Been a mammoth, isn't it? 2 game weeks done in one, listeners. I hope you've got a lot from that. I personally have. I'm just about to buy Giroud. Where is he?
Yeah.
And Bowen. Don't forget Bowen.
I like
Giroud.
Bowen's decent, but Giroud just won't play. Okay, guys, let's get into the last part of the show. It is those all-important Captain
Contenders.
Gonna go very nice. Taking it to the next level. I'm gonna go each one at a time. I want you to give me your game week 12 captain and then your game week 13 captain. I'm gonna kick it off this week. I'm gonna go for game week 12. I think as a captain, you can't look past Salah for me. Liverpool, Fulham, I feel like Salah's there. Played very well in the last game and the one before that, he's back. And then game week 13, I think for this one, I'm going for Fernandes, Man United, Sheffield United. For me, they're my 2. Hellers, what do you think? Game week 12, game week 13?
I think game week 12, I would have to agree with you with Mo Salah. I think that the fixtures there, he's looking, he always looks his best since the beginning of the campaign started, actually, other than when he was out for COVID, for obvious reasons, he missed out there. The game week, the following game week, I would be looking at Jarrod Bowen.
I mean, against Palace, why not?
Yeah, to be honest, I will actually go on Callum Wilson. I think Callum Wilson could do it against Leeds. I think he could be a standout pick for that second game week.
Yep.
A midweek game, I can just see him getting a haul against Leeds.
The solid differential. Why not? And if he does it against West Brom and he's on form,
he's not going to be rotated, right? We're talking about the rotation. It's a midweek game. Will the midweek games be where there's going to be a lot more rotation? You're looking at the top teams with Champions League, things like that. Why not?
And they had a break this week. So, yeah, definitely why not? Patrick Vieira, game week 12 and game week 13. Where's your captain, mate?
Same again for game week 12. Hate to be boring, but yeah, Salah, I'd put my money on.
Salah.
But then on 13, I'd put my money on De Bruyne, playing Man City, playing West Brom. I think he'll be...
Yeah.
As long as, again, you can limit the rotation, my money will be on him, bringing in a haul for that one.
Yeah, no, that's a very good shout. If he plays, I can definitely see that. NVD.
I'm going to go for a different Liverpool player, to be honest. Even though I have Mo Salah in my team and I hope he hauls, I just have a feeling that it's going to be Mane's game week and against Fulham. So I'm going Mane for game week 12. And for game week 13, because you're going to have your strongest 11 out for Man City against Man United, I'm actually going to go Mahrez for Man City West Brom.
Very smart, very smart. Mahrez. It's an outsider differential there as well, listeners. I won't be doing it. Captain Russ, what are you thinking, mate? Game week 12 captain, game week 13?
It's going to be Kane. Kane all the way, man. For next week. Can't ignore a Kane. Kane's going to get on the goal sheet against Crystal Palace without a shadow of a doubt. You can't ignore his form. It's like yeah, he's going to score. He's going to rack up some points there, assist and a goal. I said 2 goals, right? So yeah,
So
that's going to be where the money's at. And for the following game week, like I said before, Everton and Leicester's going to be like with their dodgy defence. It's either DCL or Vardy, and I'll probably go for more experience. So I'd go for Vardy. I think Vardy's going to definitely be on the goal sheet there without, it's kind of almost like guaranteed. So, yeah.
Almost a guarantee. It's a shoe-in, listeners. It's not Captain Russell. Have you on his boat. He'll have a party in your honour. Jamie Vardy will be there. WKD is lined. You're in. It's going to be good. I'm coming. Guys, that brings us to the end of the episode. What a fantastic podcast. That was a long one, I have to admit. A lot to go through. But listeners, we have brought you the halftime team talk. We've taken you through the Poddy League. We've given you game week 12 and 13 fixtures and captain contenders. You can't go wrong this week. Guys, I've really, really enjoyed chatting to you all. You pundits are next level. And listeners, I hope you've enjoyed it. And hopefully, if you have, you can subscribe to us on your podcast platform of choice. Follow us on Twitter @LeftBackFPL. Follow us on Reddit @LeftBackFPL. Come to our website and listen to and read the new post from our new intern, just in time. He's a fantastic lad. leftbackfpl.com. And if you want to send us an email, it's leftinthechangingroom@gmail.com. Anyhow, all of that said, it's been a magical show. Good luck to Man United next week and forever. And good luck to you all in game weeks 12 and 13. Gents, see you all later.
Hey.